Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Mark Clemens Postcards. Yet another week has gone by, and yet another week of sales has taken place, and we're here to take a look at that. Hope you have all had a good week, and not only with your eBay sales, but perhaps you don't do eBay sales, and whatever it is you do, hope you had a good week doing that. Ellie and Lucy here, the Postcard Pups, want to wish you hello and welcome back as well as I do. And so let's get looking at what we came here to do and take a look at our sales for the past week. As we look at this summary from eBay, we see we sold $609.36 worth of postcards. So all in all, about a typical week for us here. That was made up of 58 items, and our average sale price was $10.51. Looking at the little information below the numbers, we see all of those numbers are up from last week, and that's good. Last week was a little slow, but obviously when the holidays come around, people are busy doing other things, so that was to be expected. So we've creeped up a little bit more this week. And now let's take a look at some of those 58 items. First of all, here we have an Indian. This is Apache Indian ex-chief Elote. I don't know why it's an ex-chief. Maybe he got fired or he resigned. I don't know. I never heard of an ex-chief, but that's what it says. And if you look on the back of the card, it's not in the greatest condition. A lot of, I don't know if these are stains or foxing or watermarks, or I'm not sure what's going on there. But the front is affected a little bit there at the bottom, as you can see. But all in all, still a decent card. And that card sold for $5.95. Next up, we have a lot of cards. This is a lot of 50 all Canada postcards, mostly consisting of views in Quebec. I see it says also Saint Anne de Beaupré here and Niagara Falls. So a mixture of Canadian views, but all from Canada. You can see a few of the different ones here. And that lot of cards sold for $15.95. And I see it had free shipping. So that was a good deal. I don't sell a lot of Canada postcards, so that's kind of a way of just moving some stock out rather than have it sit around. Here's a card in Council Bluffs, Iowa. This is the Union Pacific Railway Bridge. And it says 1912, so I will assume that it was posted in 1912. This particular listing doesn't have a view of the back of the card. I was guilty of not doing that for a while. At the time, I was using a flatbed scanner, and scanning cards was pretty time consuming. So I didn't do the backs in order to save time. But looking back now, that really wasn't a good thing. But anyway, this one, as you can see, was listed in 2015, so it has now reached the 10-year mark of sitting in my eBay store, but it's still sold. So don't give up on those older listings. Their day may come. This one sold for $5.95. Here's an interesting card. This is the Desert Inn on Route 66 in the Painted Forest National Monument in New Mexico. It's a multi-view card. We have a large view of the inn here and a smaller view of a different angle of it. And it is not postally used. I believe this is a linen era card, and it has a sepia tone to it. But the thing, I believe, it's a nice roadside card, but I believe the main interest here was Route 66, and that one sold for $14.95. Here is a lot of 100 holiday greeting cards. These are your typical holiday cards like Christmas and Easter, Thanksgiving, also some romance, maybe romantic couples, birthdays, that kind of thing mixed in. Here we see one for New Year. Here's a Easter card. Here's a Valentine. Here's a birthday for the month of September. Here is just kind of a general greetings, hands across the sea type card. Here's another Easter card. So, if you followed me for any amount of time, you've noticed I sell a lot of these type of lots. And this particular one sold for $21.95. Keep in mind that's 100 cards, $21.95 plus shipping. Here's a railroad-related card. This is the Santa Fe Railroad's San Francisco Chief. Somewhere in the country, it says through the San Joaquin Valley of California. It is a unposted card. It's a chrome era card, and you can see it also has the Fred Harvey logo there on the back, which is a good thing to have on those. Those are popular with collectors. And that one sold for $5.95. Then we have a Disneyland card. This is the Congo Queen in Adventureland. So people taking a boat trip through Adventureland. Disneyland in California. It is a chrome era card. It shows a little bit of corner and edge wear, but not bad shape. And this one sold for, I think I took an offer of $4 on this one. It was listed for $4.95. Here is an octopus at the New York Aquarium in Brooklyn, New York. It is a Detroit publishing card, nice clean card, supposedly unused. Looks like a white border era. Although Detroit publishing could have white border borders and still be from the divided back era. I'm not quite sure how you tell, probably from the numbering or whatever. I'm not knowledgeable enough to know. But anyway, I will just call it a white border card. And there he is. The octopus looks like he's looking back at the camera. And this card was listed for $4.95, and I took an offer of $4. And the buyer messaged me thanking me for taking his offer, and also said that he wasn't sure why he wanted an octopus postcard in his collection. And I answered it back and told him that, hey, everyone should have an octopus postcard in their collection. And perhaps he's starting a trend. So we'll see how that goes. So if you people out there that have collections don't have an octopus card in your collection, you might want to think about that. Next up, we have the National Soldiers Home in California, and this is the Memorial Day review. You can see all the soldiers in their uniforms, and they are dressed and ready for review. This card is a white border card. As you can see, it's supposedly unused. Shows a little bit of corner and edge wear. I mean, that's typical for a card of that age. But the unusual thing about this card is it is slightly larger than normal. Rather than the standard 5.5 by 3.5, it is 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. So a quarter of an inch all the way around. I have maybe a half a dozen or so of these different views, all of this unusual size. I don't know why they chose to make them slightly larger than normal, but they did. This one sold for $5.95. Here we have, I'm pretty sure, yes, here we have a buyer who bought 5 lots of 100. And these are all like U.S. town views, that kind of thing. Could be a greeting mixed in there, but there are primarily town views and scenic cards. You can see the first one here So that one, it has some animals in there, some deer. There's a beach scene, a Florida card, a sailboat, a capital in Pennsylvania, Harrisburg. So that lot of 100 sold for $21.95, as they all did. Next lot, there's a covered bridge, a beach scene in Florida, another Florida card, Gettysburg, Washington, D.C., Chicago. So another lot of 100 for $21.95. Keep in mind this is the same buyer. Third lot they purchased is, here's a view in Montreal, North Carolina, Sarasota, Florida, Baltimore, Maryland, Portland, Oregon, New York, Long Island, New York. Another lot of 100, $21.95. The fourth lot, there's Florida. There's a train station in Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, PA, Statue of Liberty, Thousand Islands, New York. That's somewhere in New Hampshire. And the last lot of 100 they purchased, here we have fruit drying in California, Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia. So just an assortment. This buyer, as I said, bought 5 lots of 100, and those 5 lots totaled $109, and that was with shipping. Shipping came out to about $10 on this lot of 5. Next up, we have a ship postcard. This is the SS Baltic. It's a passenger ship on the White Star Line. It is published by Raphael Tuck. You can see here it's a divided back card, posted in 1909, and it was, you can see the writing there. Still in pretty nice condition for its age, and a nice view of that ship. That was listed for $14.95, and I took an offer of $12.95. Next buyer purchased 2 cards, both related to the same topic. The first is in Salem, Massachusetts. This is some of the ruins from the $25 million fire that occurred in 1914. Here you see some burnt buildings with just chimneys remaining standing there. It is a divided back card, or let's see, yeah, it's still divided back era there, unused. And the next card, also from that same fire. Here you see the burning of the Namkig Mills, and still got smoke in the air, but again, not much standing left but chimneys. And you can see the debris there. Both of these cards were from that 1914 fire to one buyer, and the total was $11.90 for 2 cards. Here is a real photo with not a lot of information to go by. It doesn't say anything on the front. On the back, fortunately, there's just a small note. It says, was killed in state of Montana, no horns, and it looks like it's signed J. Gilmore, I want to say. But at least from that note on the back, we know this is in Montana, and apparently this might be the hunter right here. Let's see if we can zoom a little bit. There's the gentleman standing beside the deer. And you can see a log cabin here. Interesting picture in that it has this badge type of an outline around the picture. And that is all we know about that card, but it sold for $7.95. I think that's an interesting topical card there. Here we have a postcard folder. I don't sell a lot of these, but occasionally I do sell some. And this one is of the Roadside America miniature village display that was in Charlottesville, PA. It says west of Hamburg because I guess Hamburg is easier to spell than Charlottesville. But this was a very popular roadside attraction. It is now closed, and I believe it has been sold off and pretty much cleaned out. I don't know what happened to all of the miniature displays, but I don't think they're there anymore. Maybe they're in the hands of some collector or collectors, I would hope, rather than having been destroyed. But some of the scenes of the giant, it was a very big display. I showed some of the interior views of this folder to show you what was in there. And a very interesting roadside attraction that is no more. And this folder was listed originally for $7.95, and I took an offer of $6 for that. Next up, we have a state-themed card. This is the state of Florida with a view of the state capitol in Tallahassee. We have the orange blossom is the state flower, and then there's a little rhyme up here. So this card is a divided back card posted in 1910, and that sold for $5.95. Here we have an auto advertising card. This is the 1966 Chevy 2 Nova sedan. As you can see, it's a 4-door. And it is a chrome era card, obviously 1966. It is posted, and it does have a dealer name on the back here, Mancuso Motors in Batavia, New York. So auto advertising, and this was listed for $5.95. I'm pretty sure I took an offer of $5 on that one. Here's a view in Atlantic City. Don't sell a lot of Atlantic City. There's so many cards out there of Atlantic City. They're awfully plentiful. So it's a tough sell sometimes, but occasionally you can come across a card maybe that is less common than some of the others that a collector does not have. Here is a view of the boardwalk, and in the background you can see the Traymore Hotel. Lots of people on the boardwalk. Divided back card, unused, and it sold for $5.95. Here is a card, kind of a humorous or comic card. It says, "Here comes my daddy now," and I believe that was, it says popular songs up here at the top, and I believe that song, "Here Comes My Dad," was an actual song out there. So they're taking a known song title and using it to make a comic. In this case, the little boy who has a black eye looks like he was in a fight, and here comes his daddy, and he's got his slipper behind his back. So I'm guessing he's in for a whooping. And it says town up here, Hartwick, New York. And it says state hostile, time unexpected. So again, it's just a humorous card. It is unposted, and I believe it's about a white border era card. And that card was listed for $7.95, and I took an offer of $7. And again, I think the main reason for the sale is the town. It's like those generic greetings that say greetings from whatever Tinseltown, and it's a scene of a stream with some trees, and we know those aren't actually from that town, but they are popular with collectors if they have the name of their town on there. And so that's the story on that one. Here is another interesting card. At first glance you would say, heartiest congratulations as a woman smelling a rose. I mean, it's kind of attractive from a greeting standpoint, but what I thought was more interesting, on the back, it had this is actually a sticker that was put on there. It says, "Attend Old Home Week in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, July 3rd to 9th, 1910. So I thought perhaps the sticker talking about Old Home Week here from McKeesport would be more interesting than the actual front of the card. And you do have those cases where the back of the card might actually be more interesting than the front. I think that was the case here, as I listed this card and it sold immediately. It's not a high price card, but it sold for $4.95. And I'm guessing the buyer was interested in that sticker on the back. Next up, we have a view in Detroit, Michigan. This is the Michigan Central Depot Tunnel approach to the train shed. And as you can see, off in a long, long tunnel and a low tunnel, and you can see off into the distance there, it's a divided back era card. It was posted in 1920. So railroad related, also Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is generally not a huge seller for me, but if you can find the right view, and perhaps an unusual view as this one might be, you can sell it. Again, this sold for $5.95. Here's a view in Hawaii. Again, I don't sell a lot of Hawaii either, and I don't really have a lot of Hawaii cards. Don't come across them that often. But this one is it says Lahaina, Maui, Hawaii capital. So I guess that is the capital of Hawaii, with courthouse at the right. So this would be the courthouse over here. And I guess this is the Capitol building over here. It's a chrome era card. It is not posted, and it sold for $4.95. Back to a couple lots. The next buyer bought 2 lots of holiday/greeting cards. This first lot, again, as we saw in the earlier ones, there's best wishes, just flowers and a verse there. Best wishes. Something, don't forget, like a don't forget me not, or whatever. You're mine. To greet you, congratulations. That was a stork with a baby there. Some children. Best wishes. So I see a lot of best wishes in here, but that lot sold for $21.95. Same buyer also bought this lot. Another one here, it says congratulations, best regards, rally day, good wishes, congratulations, best wishes, and so on. So 2 lots of those 100 greeting type cards for $21.95. What does that total? Like $43.90 or something like that. Here's another railroad related card. This is a B&O Railroad Centenary 1827 to 1927, and it features the Atlantic locomotive with a little blurb on there talking about that. You can see it is a white border era card, 1927, and it is unused. And perhaps some of you have seen this card is like one of a series. There are, I don't know how many in the series or set, but there's different ones of these featuring different locomotives or train cars or whatever, and they usually have different colored borders. This one is kind of a yellowish brown, and maybe you've seen some of these. This particular one sold for $5.95. Okay, keeps eBay's telling me things, and I'd rather they didn't do that right now. Next 2 cards, same buyer. These are postcards of Princess Diana, Princess of Wales. Here you see the first one. She's got her crown on there. She's in a beautiful dress, smiling at the camera. This is a continental size card. Obviously, it's more modern, featuring her. and it is unused. This one was listed for $4.95. Same buyer again. Another view of Princess Di here with their hands on her hips. Don't know if she's happy, sad, or mad. But regardless, again, continental size card. It is unused. And both of these cards were listed for $4.95. I took an offer on one of them for $4, and the other one sold for the list price. So not sure which one took the offer on, but doesn't matter that much. Both to the same buyer. Then we have a view in East Liverpool, Ohio. This is a view of the diamond, and you can see it's kind of busy there. Lots of stuff going on. The date of this card is 1905. I may have mentioned before, it's unusual for me. Usually 1906 is your typical oldest card you come across. Anything before that are a little harder to find. They do pop up from time to time, but not that often. This one is 1905. And, okay, I get the idea, eBay. Please be quiet. This card is interesting and again, you can see the start time up here was 2016. So that's been in my eBay store for 9 years. And it finally sold. Undivided back, posted, and it sold for $4.95. Next buyer bought 3 cards, all from the same place. This is at Kearsarge, New Hampshire. Putting on the Lawn at Russell Cottages. It is a real photo postcard. You can see them practicing their putting there. It is a real photo card. It is unused, although it does have a message on the back. And that stamp box would tell us it's early 1900s. So that one was listed for $7.95. Next card, same buyer, again Kearsarge, New Hampshire, across the golf links at Russell Cottages, kind of looking out into the distance. You can see the golf course there and mountains in the background. Again, on the posted card, this time we have a Defender stamp box. And let me look at my little chart here real quick. That one is probably from the 1920s or 30s. You really need to, eBay wants me to badly realize that some offer I had expired. I understand. And next up, the last of 3 cards to this buyer is again at Kearsarge, New Hampshire, at Russell Cottages. It is a view of cottages, I suppose. And it is, again, real photo, unused, shows early 1900s there. So 3 cards to the same buyer, and I believe the total was about $22. Next up, we have a view in Factoryville, PA. You all have heard of Factoryville. That's where they make factories. And this is a view at the Keystone Academy. This is their gymnasium. So Keystone Academy is a school, obviously. It is a divided back era card, posted 1914. Nice view there. And that one sold for $6.95. Here is a view in Salem, Massachusetts. This is Salem Willows Amusement Park. Now, at first glance, you might not think this is an amusement park, but it is. So I did a little bit of research, and I found out that Salem Willows at one time was an amusement park. I don't remember the dates of its existence, but it was. This is a divided back card. It was posted in 1909. And there you see the view of people kind of heading towards the amusement park. A lot of horse-drawn wagons or carriages parked out front. And that one sold for $7.95. Here we have a trade card. This is Clark's Spool Cotton Thread. The title of the card is Summer. We see a woman with binoculars looking out on the water, and there's some sailboats out there. It's a Victorian era trade card. Here is the back. You can see the advertising there on the back. And this card is actually unusual for a trade card. It's larger than standard. It is 7 1/4 by 5, so it's a little bit larger than your standard card. And that one sold for $9.95. Next, we have a view in New Kensington, Pennsylvania. This is 5th Avenue looking north. It is a white border era card, not posted. And you can see somebody on a bicycle. There's a couple vintage automobiles way down there. And there's your typical trolley tracks down the middle of the street. That used to be a common scene. Not anymore. And looking around closely, you can see some stores on each side and read some of the signs if you wanted to. And there's a 5 and 10 over there. Here's a tobacco shop over here. So an interesting view of a different era. That one sold for $7.95. Next up is a view in Ocean City, Maryland. This is an aerial view. And for me, what's interesting about it is the Continental era card. It's your 6x4 rather than a standard card. So it's a newer card. It is, let's see, posted 1976. So that's still almost 50 years old. So it's still old, but a few years back, people would even look at Continental cards. I know some dealers just throw them away if they happen to come across them. But I think they're beginning to come into their own, that they are beginning to be old enough to be of interest to collectors. And obviously this one was sold for $4.95. Last card up today is a view at Provincetown, Massachusetts. This is the Race Point Lighthouse. As you can see the lighthouse in the back there. There's some children and a dog in the foreground. It is a cyanotype card, which is that blue coloring that you see. And I initially thought, well, it's got writing all over the front. Maybe no one would want this one, but it sold pretty quickly. It's a non-divided back, and again, it's posted 1907. And that one sold for $7.95. And I'm going to go have a talk with eBay about pushing this little banner into my thing while I'm talking to you. So that is all of our sales for the past week, or at least all that I showed you. I didn't want to overburden you with all of them, but that was a nice sampling of them. And now it is time to move on to something else.
I know you are very hungry because it has been a while since we treated you to some delicious restaurant postcards. Mark has put together a tasty menu of views for your dining pleasure. Sit back, savor every bite, and please don't forget to tip generously.
Okay, thank you, Chef Billy Bob. Just as a side note, did you notice when he was talking, like how his head was moving, but his hat was staying in the same place? I don't know how he does that. That's pretty amazing. All right. Anyway, we want to take a look at some restaurant postcards today. We haven't taken a look at anything from my collection for a few weeks, so it's time to do that. Let's see. First up, we have the Chef Sears restaurant, and that is in Lexington, Kentucky. You can see it's a pretty multi-view card. Here's an exterior of the building. And then inside, here's the dining room. And they have also, here's some booths and a jukebox here, you can see. And then there's another one that says the gun room. I'm not sure what goes on in there, but that's interesting. The gun room. So that is Chef Sears Restaurant, Lexington, Kentucky. Nice linen card. Then we have, this is a cool card. This is the Mermaid Room. And the Mermaid Room is in the Park Central Hotel in New York City. This is maybe not your typical restaurant, but you see there's a bar, a circular bar with some mermaids floating above it. But if you look around the perimeter of the room, you can also see tables there. So they do serve food, so that qualifies in my collection as a restaurant card. And the mermaid theme is really cool and unusual, so I like that one a lot. Again, it is a linen era card. And you can see it kind of really has that, I don't know, kind of an Art Deco look to it. Down at the bottom, it says a Franklin Hughes creation. So I don't know who Franklin Hughes was. Possibly some kind of designer or decorator, I would guess. And this was his idea. So next up. This is the sanitary fish market on the waterfront. It says, when in Morehead City, North Carolina, visit this place. This is a linen card too. Not a real high quality image here, it wouldn't look like, but interesting nonetheless. I like the signage. You can see painted on the side of the building. It says ice, fish, shrimp, cafe. Here we have a sign out front. There's a Coca-Cola. We can see there. We zoom in a little bit. It's Coca-Cola. It says shore dinners, lunch, boats for hire, sport fishing, shore, all kind of stuff. More things than I can even read on there. Next up, this is the Lake Shore. Let me look at the back of the card here. The Lake Shore restaurant in Lakeview, Ohio. Actually, the Lake Shore Villa restaurant. And the building, again, has sort of an Art Deco look to it. It is a linen era card. There you see the sign, probably a neon sign or a lit sign over here. So kind of a cool card. Next up is Andy's Grill in Chicago. And this is another multi-view card. It says food and drinks at their best. I bet you this is Andy up here in the center, would be my guess. And we can see down here a view of the outside where you would come in. Nice big lit sign there above the door. Can't miss that. Over here to the right, we see some tables and chairs. And then over here on the left, we have a counter. So you can sit at a table or sit at the counter, whatever you prefer. And that's Andy. And Andy would be happy to see you if you want to drop by. Next up, this is the Log Cabin Inn west of Sandusky, Ohio. Not a lot to see here on the outside of this, but there is a couple signs over here telling us restaurant. And they are open 7 days a week, and fishermen are welcome. And so that's that one. Next up, this is an interesting one. This is Gus Schwab's Chat and Chew restaurant. Again, a linen card. Kind of cool view. Here we see the old cars out in the parking lot. Looks like 40s era cards there, I would say. This restaurant is located in Denver, Colorado, and it says the West's finest drive-in restaurant. On the front here is a tall column that says Chat and Chew Drive-In. On the building, it has Gus Schwab's name above the door, and then steaks and barbecue over here to the right. A very cool linen card. Next up, we have Hotel Nauvoo. This is in Nauvoo, Illinois. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it is a hotel, but they also obviously have a restaurant, as many do and did. Out front, you see chicken, steaks, fish. On the sign above the door, wine and cheese. Wine and Nauvoo blue cheese. Don't want to miss that part. Family-style dinners. Again, a nice, clean linen card, attractive. I like that one. That's why it's in my collection. Now let's go to New Orleans or Nolans. This is the Louisiana restaurant. Probably a little more upscale place. One of the oldest world-famous French restaurants since 1835. Yeah, that one's been a while. I wonder if it's still there. Again, a linen era card looking primarily at the exterior of the building, but it's an attractive looking card. Down here it says no other connections. So, I'm not sure what that means, no other connections. No other connections to who? I don't know. But when in Nolans, look up the La Louisiane. Next, we're going to go to Lake Sunapee, New Hampshire. This is the Williams Harbor Grill and Gift Shop. Here we can see the exterior of the building real well. Looks like some water right here to the right. And some old autos there in the parking lot. So if you're at Lake Sunapee, here's a place you can appease your hunger. Next up, we're going to go to Bill's Barbecue in Sanford, North Carolina. Now, you might say we're doing a lot of driving back and forth, and we are. These restaurants seem to be far apart. So we're bouncing all over the country, but that's cool. This is Bill's Barbecue House, 5 miles north of Sanford, North Carolina. A nice, clean, attractive linen card. Nice view of the exterior with a real big sign above the building there saying Bill's Barbecue House. And an interior view, got some booze as well as a counter, as many restaurants typically did. Next up, we're going to go to, where is this? Back to New York City. This is Zimmerman's Hungaria restaurant. I bet they feature Hungarian food. And here's a view of the very colorful dining room. And you can see there's a stage there, and I see some musical instruments. So they have musical accompaniment or entertainment while you're dining. Here, down here, you see a woman dancing, and there's some music. So they like that musical theme. A little inset picture of another portion of the dining room. It says cocktail lounge. So a nice multi-view card. If you're in New York City, stop in. Now we're going to Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. This is the Fairview Hotel. And in the Fairview Hotel, they have Garland's restaurant. It says ice cream, tea room, hotel. So maybe not a full-fledged restaurant, but they do serve some treats there. And it's a nice, attractive looking card. Next, we'll go to the Stagecoach Inn. Doesn't tell us on the front where that is. So looking on the back, it is in Manitou Springs, Colorado. And you can see the outside of the building there. This one's not telling you a lot of what they serve inside, as some of them tell us all the kind of things you can expect. This one's keeping it a secret. So if you want to find out what kind of food they serve, you'll have to go in. Here's a restaurant in Chicago, Illinois. I'm not sure if I want to attempt to pronounce that. It's French, apparently. L'Agnon, something like that. Restaurant in Chicago. Just an exterior view. It's like an older, stately type building. Nice big sign off here to the right. It says Cuisine Française. So it's French food. French cuisine, basically. So it's a more upscale place. That one is let's see. That's still a linen card. Has a white border, but this one is a particular one's a linen card. What's next? Next we have Reader's Creamery in Calistoga, California. I'm thinking they probably have more than just ice cream here. Let's zoom in a little bit. It says a lot of signage here. Big ice cream cone above the door. Readers, just better food. It says creamery, coffee shop, steaks, chicken, ice cream, chicken, steak. Can't quite read that last one. So yes, they have more than just ice cream. It is a full-fledged restaurant. And it's an attractive looking building, so that makes you want to stop in, I would think. Especially that big ice cream cone there. Next up, we're going to Daytona Beach, Florida, to Wagner's Drive-In Grill. Wagner's must be closed at the time of this picture because there are no cars outside. Zooming in a little bit, there you see the front of the building. Off to the right here, we have a sign, Drive-In Grill. And that's about all I can say for that one. Next up is the L&C restaurant in Franklin, Pennsylvania. Now this, again, looks like a restaurant you might find like downtown in a row of buildings. This has kind of a Art Deco type front. On the back, it doesn't really tell us about the kind of food they serve. So once again, you want to find out what's on the menu, you'll have to go in. Here is Woodward's House, north of Richmond, Virginia. And there's no secret here as to what they serve. We can take a closer look and find out. They have Woodward's House grilled, food fit for a king, steak dinners, breakfast, lunch, dinner, finest food south of New York, AAA approved, chicken and ham dinners, something steaks and ham over here. So gives you a pretty good idea what kind of cuisine you can expect to go in there. Again, an attractive looking card. Now we're going to Fitchburg, Massachusetts, to Brooks Restaurant Unusual. And I don't know what's unusual about it, but let's take a look. There's your dining room. Large dining room. Got some murals on the wall there. Another section of dining room, kind of a different theme and different color scheme than the other room. And over here we have yet again another look. So several different dining rooms, all with different kind of decor. But regardless of which room you're in, you're going to be served the same fine food. So don't have any qualms about going to Brooks. It's unusual, but the food is not. Here we have the Stockholm restaurant between Somerville and Bound Brook, New Jersey. Kind of a little look from a distance, so let's get a little closer. There you see Stockholm restaurant, famous Swedish smorgasbord. So that's what we can expect. Let's look at this sign over here too. Stockholm restaurant featuring a smorgasbord. They have a cocktail lounge, an orchestra, so again, musical entertainment, luncheon, and dinner. So that is in New Jersey. And let's see here. I think last up is we have a couple different views of the same restaurant or the same chain of restaurants. This is the Waffle Shop. And you can see this is a Chrome Era postcard with some old automobiles. This is Salzer's Waffle Shop in Dyer, Indiana. At the crossroads of the nation, a restaurant made famous by its waffles. Open 24 hours a day. We serve dinner also. So there's a neat view. And if we look at this one, same building, just a different view, maybe different day. Some more cars in the parking lot. But the same building and the same fine food. And if you like waffles, well, obviously that's a place to go. That's an alternative to the Waffle House, I suppose. And last up, again, this is Salzer's Waffle Shop. And either this building has been replaced or they have more than one location. It says where Route 41 crosses Route 30, 30 being the Lincoln Highway. This is a Lennon era card and definitely a different look on that building. And it says waffles, sandwiches, coffee there, curb service too. So another look at Salzer's Waffle Shop. I think I would feel safe in saying they might have several different locations around there. So that is some restaurants from my collection, about 24 of them. I have 4 or 5 more albums of these, so I could go on showing you restaurants for quite a while. But I don't want to just bore you with restaurants, so we're going to be looking at some other topics. We will again be revisiting the Lincoln Highway. Last time we were there, we were at the Ship Hotel, but we're going to continue on from there. There's lots more to see on the Lincoln Highway. We still got more gas stations to show you. And I have some odds and ends postcards, not a particular single topic, but a mixture of things that I have collected. And I also maybe want to show you some things around the office here and a special room that I am working on to display some of my collections. And we will be getting to that in the future when it's ready to take a look at. But please keep your eye here, keep posted for upcoming videos, because I hope to keep them coming at you, and I hope you will find them interesting. Appreciate you coming and taking your time to see what we're doing and check in on us. And if you like these videos, please give us a like. And if you haven't subscribed, we would welcome you. We would love to have you as a subscriber. And that way you can get notified about videos when they come out. And we just like to have you on board with us. So thanks for tuning in. And as always, we will see you next time.